What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Canes Insight Daily Podcast, powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. My favorite day of the week. It is Wednesday. Mike Ryan is in the house. Season is officially done. Offseason has begun. Miami is undefeated, ready to win that sixth national championship. Mike, how we doing?
We're doing great. What a wonderful first full college football season. Probably, what do you think? Was 2017 better than this last year? I think, look, we got to a better bowl game, no doubt. But if that team played this team, I think this team wins, but I'm also pretty sure we make Malik Rozier look like Deshaun Watson at Clemson. So that one didn't feel as sustainable. That one felt like Miami got lucky in some games. This one kind of felt like the other way. Miami got unlucky in some games. So I think you can make a very solid argument that since like 2005, this is the best year in Miami Hurricanes football in the 21st century. I mean, outside of the first 4 years of it, yeah, this is probably it. So I don't know. Are we relevant? Because that's been the thing against us. Like, you guys haven't been relevant in 20 years. I think we're relevant now.
We're relevant now. Got to sustain the relevance. That's, to me, is the motto. Not the motto inside the building, but just from a fan base perspective. You know, we got to be that team that people use in NCAA, the kids use. We got to be the logo on the screen. Cam Ward is going to keep us relevant here for another couple of months because he's going to be the first person to shake the commissioner's hand. That's going to be a big step.
It's a huge moment for Miami.
But you got to stack those.
Mm-hmm.
How about Carson Beck shaking his hand next year? That'd be a nice way to kind of keep this thing rolling.
A nice firm handshake that really tests the torque on that elbow and everything's good. Yes, that'll be great. Look, I've been a big fan of what you guys have done over here over the last few years, but the last week in particular, I think you guys have really shined. Your background knowledge on what's going on with Xavier Lucas has really been, in terms of the response from Miami, outside of, what aggregate sites are doing and fans are doing, which is just shut up, you losers. You getting in there with facts, base knowledge. It's been really good. I implore the audience to check out some of the earlier episodes. D-Money has been as good as anybody on the Miami side when it comes to this stuff. And it's it reeks of sore loserdom, and it's a bad look, begging for Congress to come save you. And it's they had such a monopoly over South Florida kids, them and the SEC, and they just can't bear the thought of some of these kids staying home anymore. That it really brought out a truly bizarre reaction that, Pete, can I ask you to hop in? Pete, I want to talk about Xavier Lucas, the player, a little bit, and I'll begin with you, Pete, because my whole takeaway is, man, Xavier Lucas must be really good. He must be outstanding to be worthy of this kind of embarrassment that Wisconsin has put on themselves and dragging the Big Ten, hoping that they don't have to go in it all alone. Pete, let's talk about the player, because there's been a lot of nonsense talked about. He was down here. He's matched up against the likes of Jeremiah Smith in the past. This is a guy that, if you ask Wisconsin fans, like, they'll just point out some of the bad and the fact that maybe his playing time wasn't so regular. What can you tell us about Xavier Lucas, the player?
Miami should have never gotten on him late in high school in the first place. That's the number one thing I'll tell you. And I think that's the lesson learned here. And it's funny because there's a question here. And in terms of the player, the length and the speed combo at that position with that size. And Dee and I were talking about it the other day. Like, he's big, he's long, but he's got the fluidity. He's got the ability to flip his hips. He's very smooth. I think he could play safety if it was an absolute necessity. But a guy like that, you want to try to play him at corner if you can, just because it's going to take away, a lot of teams. Really, they're number one. I would project that to be the case. That's how good I think he is. And real quick, there's a comment here regarding Xavier Lucas, Rock and Rant, asking us, what do you guys think is the reality, whether South Florida schools will truly impact Wisconsin recruiting over the Xavier Lucas, situation? My thing is this, and I'll throw it to you after that, D, but Wisconsin's not a school that Miami should be losing recruiting battles to when it comes to South Florida kids. There are guys from South Florida who have gone there and had great careers. So I'm not saying it in that sense. I'm saying in the sense of those weren't guys that Miami necessarily wanted. Xavier Lucas, Miami got on him very late there in the ballgame. Wisconsin had been recruiting him. Obviously, he ends up at Miami anyways, but if Miami was recruiting that one hard from the start, I don't think we even get to this point. So I do think it'll hurt Wisconsin. But again, I don't think that Wisconsin should ever be a team that Miami has to deal with in terms of recruiting down here in South Florida.
Yeah, Wisconsin. No one chooses to go to Wisconsin. I mean, that's not even a college football thing. I mean, does anyone actually choose? You know, anyone's ever chosen to go to Wisconsin?
People from the area.
Yeah, they don't choose to go there. They're from
Chicagoland area. Like they get recruits from there.
Right.
Too.
They stay there. But I'm saying, like, no one chooses to go there. Like in life, has anyone ever been in Wisconsin on vacation?
I hear Madison's a great college town, and if you want to look, if you're a fan of CFB 25, some recruits like the campus lifestyle, and Madison's a good college town. I'm not here to dissuade. I know a lot of good Badgers out there that aren't really going along with what Wisconsin's doing. I think it's a prestigious program. I think it's a cool program when it's rocking. That's Camp Randall's a really cool atmosphere. I'm not here to knock them the way that you are.
Yeah, I'm here to knock them.
Yeah.
Just in terms of Wisconsin, I'm thinking Making a Murderer, that show, which that didn't look too appealing, right? That town. The guy like lived on like a car park dump. Did you ever see that?
Yeah. So I did watch that.
That didn't look very good. Was it Step by Step? Was in Wisconsin?
Dahmer was from Wisconsin.
Dahmer was from Wisconsin. Dahmer was from Wisconsin.
Yeah, the per capita of Netflix shows focusing on the state is really outsized. Yeah. A lot of sketch in their history, but look, we're in a glass house here.
Well, we are in a house on the water overlooking lakes, and we got macaws. If you've ever been to UM, there's macaws flying at all times. Like I was at a practice last week for UM baseball, and there's legitimately blue and yellow macaws flying overhead. I mean, Wisconsin, those things die within 2 minutes because you can't, have color and be cool in the state of Wisconsin. That's why, Xavier Lucas was there for 2 seconds and bounced immediately.
Is he a good player?
He tampered with us, by the way. Tampering with him. The guy was tampering with us. He was banging down the door to get out of Wisconsin. So as a player, 6'2", 200, 4'3". I mean, what can you say about the talent? The question is going to be corner safety. I don't know if he plays the ball and does all those kind of things that Frederic does very naturally. The transitions, the being able to see the ball. Luke is a little stiffer than Frederic, but he's bigger and he's faster, so he makes up for it kind of in other ways.
I want to ask you both about Miami's secondary now because it goes from a weakness and it's been addressed. We got to see the season play out and how they fit in our new DC scheme, but this is a totally retooled secondary. Safety is interesting. We like Xavier Lucas as CB1, but there could be a need at safety. We brought a lot of corners in. We have a freshman All-American there. Do all these corners stick it through spring? Because there aren't many spots on this field, and we already brought in a ton. I know competition's going to bring the best out of folks, but there might be a bit of a pilgrimage from some of these DBs on this roster. We brought in a lot of talent, D.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot about who wants to play at what might be their best position. We talked about this yesterday on the show with James Williams. James Williams should have been a linebacker from the start. Reuben Bain, in my view, should be a defensive tackle. Someone like Damari Brown, I think probably should be a safety. The guy hits like a truck. He's 200 pounds, like Lucas.
See, I'm worried about Damari and how he fits in this game of musical chairs. And if you got him at safety, that could help address it
big time. But then maybe he doesn't want to do it. You also have the nickel position, right? You're going to go with a smaller nickel like a Charles Brantley. You're going to go with a bigger nickel like a Damari Brown, like a Lucas. Maybe he didn't do a ton of it at Wisconsin, but he could do it. Some guys like to have a bigger nickel. Some guys like to have a more of a cover guy like a Corey Couch. We'll see what Heatherman wants to do. He says he kind of adjusts depending on what the personnel is. So part of it is, I had a friend who was a coach in the SEC, and he said there's two things. You got to get the right people on the bus. You got to get them in the right seat on the bus. This spring's about getting guys in the right seat on the bus, and you have a new defensive coordinator without any preconceived notions. So that'll help, I think, the evaluation process.
So we like O'Connor from Wazoo. He came in highly touted. I keep forgetting about the Arizona kid that we brought in.
Emmanuel Carnley.
We have the Michigan State kid that we brought in. I was getting worried because we kept addressing this position and the Lucas thing was hovering above, and Xavier Lucas very clearly wanted to be home. We have two safeties that we have Zaquan that we don't, I guess we can pencil him in. Can we? What do you, out of the people that we brought in, who are most likely to potentially be an answer at the safety position? And then that frees up some playing time for not just some of the recruits here, but some of the guys that we're trying to develop. Because I think on one side of the field, we can pretty much Sharpie in OJ Frederic.
Yeah, you can have a dedicated nickel. So before we get to safety, right?
Okay.
So maybe the nickel is treated like a whole separate position. And instead of just having, a Daryl Porter say, you play some nickel, you say, Charles Brantley, you're the nickel. You're going to practice all the time at the nickel. You're going to be an NFL nickel because you're not the biggest guy in the world. So you're just locking in on the nickel. I'm not saying this was going to happen, but that's one way to kind of get a name out the mix, right? Of the outside corners. Carnley, O'Connor, 6'1 plus, OJ Frederic, those are pure outside corners. I don't see them moving around. Yeah. Lucas is one that could play safety, play nickel. Damari, I think, is one that could play safety, play nickel. Brantley, I don't think could play safety. He's probably under 170 pounds.
We have Poyser pretty much. I think we can lock him in.
And Dylan Day out throw in the mix too. The safety from Louisiana was number 23, was great all year on special teams. Played a lot in the bowl game because we were really down on all defensive backs. We didn't have many at all. We were really struggling there. Luckily, Iowa State had two tight ends in a lot of the game, or else we would have been like trotting out walk-ons. It was nobody.
All right, so I'm gonna hold your feet to the furnace here,
please.
Your best guess headed into spring. We'll find out who wins these battles in spring, who might possibly leave, who might possibly be brought in. What do you think the starting secondary looks like for Miami? Take me around the horn.
If everybody does what I'd like, if no one fights about the position and transfers, and I could just be like,
as presently constituted right now.
I mean, look, the first snap of spring is always kind of just political. It's not necessarily.
I understand.
Yeah. So if I'm saying, where I think everybody might fit best, again, some of this is projection because we haven't seen it. I'm thinking corner, OJ Frederic for sure is one of these starting corners. That's a no doubter. I would say Damari Brown at safety next to Poyser.
You think he stays?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know if these guys will go along with all these things. This is if I'm putting the people where I think they might fit best.
I know the ground rules.
Yeah. And then you have Zaquan going in there as well, but then those two at safety. I'd have Charles Brantley at nickel, which he has mostly been an outside corner, but he's under 170 pounds. He's very quick and feisty, but he's not like a 4.4 speed kind of guy. Very athletic, has 100-yard pick returns, but he's not a guy that's like going to be a sprinter at his size. So I think nickel's probably his long-term home if he wants to go to the pros. Put him at nickel, veteran, kind of stabilize that position. And then you have Lucas and Frederic with Carnley and Ethan O'Connor rotating right in and competing and let the best man win. That's how I see it.
Pete, is that how you have it?
Yeah. Assuming that Brantley is good to go and health-wise, obviously there would be no reason to think that he isn't, but I wouldn't mind seeing O'Connor at nickel.
That was my next question. O'Connor as a nickel, like this guy's tape out of all the people that we brought in, to me, in terms of what he did on the field, not projections, not height, not measurables, but in terms of like, is this guy a dog on the field?
And he's twitchy too.
I think he put out the best tape. Yeah. I think he put out the best tape. So I'm like dying to get this guy on the field. Is he just depth? Or do you see him potentially being an answer at nickel like Pete just alluded to?
No, I don't think he's just depth. I agree with you. He had the best tape, 4 interceptions last year as a redshirt freshman, twitchy, super athletic. It's funny because, on one hand, I think the highest rated was Brantley, right? He's a proven college player. O'Connor, in terms of PFF kind of rating wise, O'Connor, we had to beat Georgia for him. A lot of people have O'Connor as the top combination of like production and upside. It's
pretty good news that we had to beat Georgia for a couple of guys that we brought in the secondary.
For sure.
Georgia did a great job secondary wise in the portal.
Yeah, but it appears that they went with a lot of plan Bs and plan Cs here.
They won O'Connor. Poyser was by far their number one option. Certainly Jaden Harris was not.
It was a joke.
Yeah. Oh, all right. There you go. All right, Pete. Good
Sorry.
job. Dynamite drop.
You were disguising that quite well.
But
you're not a Jaden Harris guy, I guess.
But no, I am. I like Jaden.
Some people, we got an inside source, Ryan Otero, director of pitching for the Chicago Cubs, former Kane, friend of the show. And he talks to people that are in the scouting community. Some people like Emmanuel Carnley as the top corner. because of his length. He's 6'3" plus. He had some ups and downs.
He's got some edge to him.
He's spinning someone's face. Hey, that's Sean Taylor spinning someone's face.
Yeah.
So the sometimes we like the edge. Sometimes
I'm sure there are a lot of bad players that also spin in people's faces too.
Yeah.
But I think that's a huge storyline going into spring. Quarterback situation. We know we have a freshman coming in that we're excited to. I like anybody, I prefer Carson Beck to be healthy for spring. That's not an option right now. But one of the silver linings in all that is that Nickel's going to get some extra snaps here in spring. Emery, I think, sticks around, but we'll see. Spring is always kind of tricky. Remember, Jakari was around here for spring, and there was a quarterback battle. This is going to be a little trickier because last spring, Cam Ward walked in, and everybody knew right then and there, this guy is not just QB1, but he's outstanding, like put in a future for Heisman type of outstanding. So everybody else kind of fell in line. Tricky when QB1 is not out there. And so Emery, if he sticks through the spring, is going to be penciled in as QB1. Seniority, playing time. We know that the staff still likes him because they had to make some tough decisions here. How do you see this quarterback position shaking out as presently constituted? The
toy you don't see that's coming on, in the mail from Amazon is always the better one, right? At least with my kids. I don't want to fall victim to that, but I have to say, Luke Nickel, to me, just valuing him just off high school tape, I thought Luke Nickel was by far the best of the three that we've signed during the Mario era. That's Emery, Judd Anderson, and Luke Nickel. Just if I'm judging them as I viewed him in high school, I would say Luke Nickel, big ahead. I've never been a big Emery believer just because of the athleticism issues. You saw some of that in the bowl game. I don't see it working with twitchy ACC defenders. He's got to move too much. And he'll look good in practice. He'll be fine in practice, but for live action, I don't like the movement. Judd Anderson, he has all the traits as far as the height, smoothness, basketball player, but I don't know if he has the playmaking experience. He's only been a passing quarterback for 2 years. He was never Cam Ward was a guard. So Cam Ward, when he wasn't throwing footballs, he was passing, making decisions. Judd Anderson was a finisher. He was finishing alley-oops. So there's a mentality to being the general.
More athleticism though than Emery, no doubt.
Oh, not even close.
Yeah. A lot of people just assume by looking at the measurables that Judd might be a pocket guy. I mean, yeah, that's kind of the way that he plays. But if he gets out of the pocket, he can move.
If you put Emery's head in Judd's body, you're talking about NFL all day.
Really?
Yeah. Judd's fat. If you talk about you're running the ball, I think Judd, let's say you have Judd and Cam, and I
think Judd's going to be the best of the three.
Oh,
really?
Here comes Pete.
I do.
Really? I can't. All right. Are you just
no, I'm serious. No, because I'm serious because I think now with the reps, he's going to take a big leap. Like you talked about, he hasn't had those reps. I think he's going to take a big leap now with more reps here. He's smooth, man. He's a good athlete.
Yeah.
I'm not as high on Nickel as you are.
Okay.
I like Nickel, but if Beck didn't come, I'm not on board with him being. I wouldn't have been on board with him being a starter right off the bat.
Look, I isolated samples. I went to a handful of practices, and I never really saw it in those practices with Judd. In fact, they were actually a little contentious in terms of grasping the offense. So I actually liked that. I like some contention at practice. I think it's good. I'm surprised Lightfoot is still here. That shows you there's something to that. Feisty kid, but
he was very raw, man. As
he was very raw.
Saying. But that's why I think now with these reps, he's going to take a bigger leap than these other guys. I mean, Luke, we'll see. We haven't seen him yet, so
I haven't heard the staff talk all that much about Judd. I mean, I understand why. Poff, Emery, Cam, they dominate the headlines. Those are all going to be the questions. And everyone, as the season progressed, everyone was getting excited about Nickel. Judd Anderson was kind of lost in this shuffle. What have you heard from the staff, D, on Judd?
Like the tools, wait and see. Developmental, and
this is his developmental opportunity. It's going to be now or never for him to develop.
Right.
Here's
one thing I'll say about, and we have a great question from Kane for Life I want to get to, but one thing I've learned talking to coaches for 20 years about this stuff, they'll tell you one thing, and then a player will go out and have a great practice or a great scrimmage, and he's the next best thing, or the reverse, right? So they really do live practice to practice as coaches. So if Judd comes out there and balls, you're going to hear Judd Anderson buzz all over the place because that's just kind of how it works. We'll see what happens when he gets the chance. But a couple questions we've got to get to here. So Canes for Life appreciates the support, asking, looking ahead to 26, who do you guys got at quarterback, Luke Nickel or Darian Coleman? So I've seen full games from both of those guys. I was at the championship for Darian Coleman. I would say based on what I've seen in games, I would give the edge to Nickel just because his body's more ready for college. He's heavier. Look, you could be a Bryce Young and have success, but that's the outlier more than the norm. So I think Coleman, although he is getting bigger, still has to show that he can stand in there and really take what college physical pounding is. Nickel, I have no doubt he can do that. He's going to be 200 plus pounds the second he steps on campus, or he's already here. He's already over 200 plus pounds. So I'd give the edge to Nickel right now because of physical readiness. Coleman still has a year of development. Nickel got a lot better from junior year to senior year. So Coleman took a big step from sophomore to junior. Let's see if he takes that step from junior to senior. But I have Nickel right now, but that's subject to change. Anyone else got thoughts on these guys?
Give me the number one quarterback in the portal.
There we go. That's pizza.
We're just. I told you this all season long. If you have success a certain way, if you have success with that transfer portal quarterback, you're absolutely going to go mining in the portal the following year.
Go do it again.
Yeah, which is going to make recruiting the position possibly a little bit more difficult. Although Miami's collective does,
or you
do
could say it makes it easier. Or you could say it makes it easier.
How so?
Because someone's going to fall on your. If you do it again. Now back to back with Beck, it's going to become very easy.
Right.
Because it wasn't easy. Some things had to fall Miami's way for this to happen this year, right? But you do it 2 years in a row, I think it'll be very easy.
Quite honestly, Pete, things had to break Miami's way both times. I don't think the audience at large understands exactly how dicey these propositions were.
You don't want to have to rely on it, but that's my thought on it. Quite frankly, I think you just keep going back to the wall.
The old adage in recruiting is you got to take a quarterback every class. Yep. Mario's a recruiting based head coach, does not ignore the high school ranks the way that some other portal merchants might. Not that we're portal merchants, but the evidence is stacking up. So given that Miami just in back-to-back years got their top target at quarterback, well, I think Mateer was probably the top target. He goes to Oklahoma, but at that point, Carson Beck was declared for the NFL. And all these aggregate sites, pretty much all of them universally have Carson Beck, I think, ranked atop that QB portal ranking. Do you ever see Miami deviating from the old rule of thumb, take a quarterback every class?
Let's see if Luke Nickel comes here in spring and is balling, if he's throwing 5 touchdowns in the spring game, I think they'll switch in their development mode. And how do we get this guy ready for next year with Beck being the starter this year? It's just going to be depending on what they have in house.
To your earlier point, practice to practice, they spoke to me till they were blue in the face, espousing the virtues of Emory Williams. And then he had a bad half. And everybody was certain. The conviction that I've heard over 2 years from this staff and people around the program that Emory is good enough to be QB1. And for all of that to evaporate with one bad half, it speaks to your point about how knee-jerk some of these reactions can be. I don't know what that means for actual development. We don't have a large enough sample here of guys like Jakari and Emory feeling like promises were made to them. Not that I'm alleging that is, but if the staff is telling other people how highly they rate them, they're probably telling these kids how highly they rate them. I know Jakari is a bit of a different situation, but I think it's going to be more difficult to sash these guys. So an earlier point that I made, though, our collective does do right at that position with backup. So maybe people know that they can come here and get developed and maybe do a like Reese Poffenbarger style like pit stop for their development. I'm curious to know what his thoughts are. He's been a class act with his separation. He didn't say anything bad about it, but I wonder if he has regret.
No, look, he's at North Texas, a great spot for him. I mean, that's, he's going to put up big numbers this year. He got Division I experience. He played in the Florida State game, which was probably the high point of the season. But, with Emory, and I heard the same thing you did, which is the coach. People will get mad when I say it. I'm like, the coaches, they like him. Players like him. They're talking good about Emery. Now, I will say, and you know this because we had these conversations, I never saw it. I was at the same practices, and I'm like, there's no way this guy plays. Now, here's what I'll say. Before the Pop-Tarts Bowl, Miami was still looking for transfer quarterbacks. So it's not like Miami only started looking for transfer portal quarterbacks after the Pop-Tarts Bowl. They were looking for them before. Plus, when Emery got in the game, it's not like they were, showing a lot of confidence in the game plan for what they were doing with him.
They never really have outside of Ball State, which is one of the worst
Which
football
game
teams
he
we've
was?
ever seen.
Yeah,
Right.
Yusuf says Emery went up against FSU and Clemson, handled his own. I mean, there was one of those games he was 8 for 23. So I don't want to say that he handles his own.
So Clemson, we had some big game-breaking plays in that game. The defense, Ruben Bain played an all-time game in that game. Emery had some shackles around him. The game plan was very conservative with him, but then they had to let him loose when Miami needed a score, when Miami had to climb back into that game, and Emery looked good there. Same script kind of for FSU. Do enough, hang around, kind of arguably has it's a beautiful throw, the end result, the one where like two defenders are crashing and it was Jacoby George ends up catching that. Could be luck, but whatever, it got there. But that's another feather in the cap for when they trust me and I can uncork it, I can make things happen. I just don't see the trust there, which is a pretty big tell, D.
No, I think so. And it just doesn't look easy. That's my thing with Emery. I never watched Emery play in a physical game. Not when
you juxtapose it with Cam Ward, who makes the game look super easy.
Extremely easy.
It's unfair.
It's not. It's just like the ball leaving the hand. It doesn't look the way it's supposed to look.
Yeah.
And I think that's
not fluid.
Superficial about it, but to me, that's always been my stick.
Something about the release point. You
get a lot of balls batted down. For
it looks like a 290-degree angle for me.
Right.
Yeah.
I know when my kids started playing baseball, you throw the hard ball with them, but you got to throw it a little soft because you throw it too hard and they miss it. It hits them in the head and you get in a lot of trouble with your wife. So you kind of like aim it, That's how I felt sometimes watching it. It doesn't end up leading to the most velocity. You got to let it rip.
Should be an interesting spring, though. He has the opportunity. Do you think Emery Williams got better year over year?
Not really.
That Ball State game is so hard to judge because it's such a dreadful football team.
And
he did look good.
There's been a lot of sentiment here, like Yusuf is saying, and a couple other people have said basically that the game plan wasn't right. He says in the bowl game, we ran the ball 90% of the time until our defense gave up the lead. Then we asked to deliver with a minute left. Not fair to the kid. I mean, you scored a touchdown pretty much running every play on the drive. And again, if you would have thrown every play, it wouldn't have looked pretty. I'm sorry. The coaches call a game plan because they know what they have with the guys on the field. If they felt they could have thrown it all over the place, they would have been calling pass plays. I'm sorry.
I'm going to get to Stephen Aveo got a super chat. I'm going to get to it in 1 second, so don't worry, Stephen. We'll get to it. I just want to get this last stat out for Yusef's point here. So I'm looking at the team stats in the Pop-Tarts Bowl. We averaged per rush. What did we get per rush? We got Dave Martinez averaging 12.8. Mark Fletcher averaging 5.2. Okay. Emery Williams passing was 5 for 14 for 26 yards. So we're talking about under 2 yards per attempt of a pass. That is beyond bad statistically. That's unheard of.
And as Kyle points out in the comments section too, a lot of batted balls. Like Emery's a tall drink of water. Like what's going? Is that the release point thing that we're worried about there? How is he getting so many balls batted down?
Again, it's not fluid. The release point, the confidence to just throw it. I think he's tentative also because
he's not going to tuck it and run either, which is the issue. You call a pass play and it's either going to be an incomplete pass, something bad's going to happen, or you get a completion. There's nothing else in between.
Yeah, okay. Luke Nickel. Oh, so go ahead.
But I must caution because I could kind of feel like already like we should never show this to Emery Williams because we have to address the fact that we have a quarterback coming in here that had a pretty big arm surgery. Now, I understand the Brock Purdy examples, and I understand we feel pretty confident in it, but I think you'd have to be a fool to not be worried about the arm. Are you prepared to go into a season with potentially Emery saying, all right, it's not going to work out for me here, and a true freshman backing up a quarterback that had a pretty serious surgery?
I think that Emory would probably leave. I think I don't.
Well,
we'll see how it
if
goes.
we're listening to Pete, maybe Judd is QB too.
I think we'd probably if we don't have Beck, and maybe if we do bring in a backup veteran after the spring portal, right? I think that's probably where you go just as a break in case of emergency. But to me, Luke Nickel. I think if Carson Beck is not starting for us, I think Luke Nickel should be starting those games. No question about
Freshman.
it. I mean, Emory started as a true freshman.
Yeah,
and he was not even half as acclaimed as Nickel.
I understand, but we all had our hearts in our throats for that. It worked out better than we could have imagined. And also, look, TBD was terrible that year. And he wasn't following, he was following a pretty good act. He was following him being good, but we're following Cam Ward here. You have Carson Beck. It's all there. Miami's going to be ranked preseason top 10. This is a pretty tough schedule to be asking a freshman to come in.
Well, that's why you pay all the money we pay for Beck. I mean, Beck is the starter. If Beck cannot start, your backup, there's always going to be a drop off. Usually, if you're a good program, your backup is a young player that is on the way up. Look, Brad Kaya, I'm pretty sure, led the ACC in touchdown passes his freshman year. Mm-hmm. And that was without a spring because he came in later. Yeah. And that was true freshman.
Gators were all excited about their true freshman.
A lot of people were. They won games with their true freshman. I mean, look, we can make fun of his completion percentage, but they beat some good teams with Lagway as their quarterback. And Lagway did not have the offensive line that Miami had. I mean, you saw the Gator team. They stunk. And then you put Lagway in, and they were still able to beat some teams. So, true freshman in 2025, it's not the plan. If you went in there with Luke Nickel, this is the plan for him to start, that's one thing. But if he's an option, I feel comfortable, especially with the way he plays. He's a smart player. He's won a ton in high school. He was the Georgia Player of the Year.
Do we sound crazy, though? Because I understand you have Mertz and you have Lagway, and we're good with Lagway playing right away as a true freshman. Luke Nickel is not nearly as celebrated nationally.
I think that D's overvaluing him a bit.
I mean, I like the tape too, dude.
I'm not saying he might not be the best option as a backup, but D compared him to Jalen Hurts and Tim Tebow.
I didn't compare him to
the
Jalen
other
Hurts.
Day. Okay.
First of all,
I'll pull up the clip.
Pull up the clip. I said they use him like Tim Tebow in high school.
No, he ran. He's like, look at him. He looks like Tim Tebow running people over. He looks like Jalen Hurts on this play. That's why I'm like,
I don't think he's going to play like that in college, first of all. Number two, when I said that, then they showed the state championship game on TV, and the announcers were all talking about it because they ran.
You guys
the Tim
are
Tebow
all on
playbook.
Something. Then you guys are all on
Tim Tebow plays with Luke Nickel. He's not going to play like that in college when the athletes get better, but that's what they were running.
It. Just not even. Just no. No, I'm not gonna let you say that. No.
What do you call a 200+ pound guy that they call inside running plays for the quarterback?
6 foot. What is he? 6'1"?
6'2".
Okay.
I'm not saying he's gonna be Tebow. I think it's gonna translate to college like that. But
I'm not Lance says I'm hating. I'm saying he's not anything like. And then he had a play from the 10-yard line where he rolled out right, and he said that looks like Cam Ward against Florida, which was a 40-yard pass downfield.
That did look like Cam Ward against Florida.
Okay.
It did.
All right. Pete, pull up Luke Nickel Senior highlights.
It was a facsimile of it.
Let's let the people talk here. Let the people talk here. I'll pull up Luke Nickel Senior highlights. I'm going to send them to you in the chat.
I'm pulling it up. I
need the senior ones.
Yo, in his defense, that did look a lot like Cam Ward.
Looked
from
identical.
The 10-15-yard line. Ward was like from the 40.
He's building to it. He's building to it. I sent it to the chat. We'll talk about it.
I have it.
But look, I mean, again, I'm not saying you plan to have Luke Nickel as your starting quarterback.
Further than the 10-15-yard line.
We'll let the film be the judge. Let the people talk here. We got over 1,000, by the way, on this live. So appreciate like and subscribe to this show. Appreciate everybody live. While Pete's pulling up Luke Nickel's highlights, let me pull up the highlight of Miami cuisine. We got a million texts about this in all our group chats. It's always in the side chat. It's got the whole city talking, but the city's been talking for 40 years.
I went there on Martin Luther King Day.
Did you really? How was it?
The Dadeland Dining Pavilion.
How was it?
I mean, Islas always connects, brother. Always connects.
Thank you, Dean Kane.
Pete is 100. Pete is 100.
That's not the former Superman.
Dean Kane. Shout out to Dean Kane. Here we go. Shout out to authentic Cuban cuisine at Islas Canarias. Tradition, family, history. You know that well. Actually, you had the empanizado, right?
The empanizado is the biggest thing you'll ever have. Honestly, I've never seen a bigger pizza empanizado in my life, and it was delicious. That was before I got in shape. After I had that, like an anaconda, I was just like going to regurgitate it, eat it again, and it would hold me over for several weeks thereafter. After that, I decided, you know what? I've had my fill for the entire year. There's no topping this.
But you did have a protein packed lunch here at the dining pavilion. What do you have? By the way?
I had the traditional.
MLK
I had a lighter lunch. Traditional croquetas, little crackers on the side. Little squeeze of lime.
There we go. The classic ham.
Yeah.
How was the classic ham voted best croqueta in Miami year after year?
Well, it was the best croqueta in Miami. And if you're the best croqueta in Miami, you're the best croqueta in the world.
There it is. Tony Valdez, I see you guys waiting until lunchtime to drop the croqueta ad. Well played. You guys know where to go. Dining Pavilion, Dayland Mall, the absolute best. Johnny Lagoon saying Beck's elbow will be fixed after the croqueta preparada. That is a fact of life. Pete, you got Luke Nickel queued up?
Yes.
Luke Nickel's going to be talking about Tim Tebow. Luke Nickel's going to be looking like Jared Lorenzen after a few trips to the dining pavilion.
Do you think Mario would ever approve like a turnover croqueta? I know he didn't. I know he didn't like the turnover chain, but like a little shot of cafecito maybe after.
He plays the joke up every time he's in front of the media. We got to change that joke, or at least have Islas sponsor it. It's getting a little old. Here we go. Here we got Luke here. Let's see Luke Nickel. This is a senior highlight, some of the best competition. First highlight. What's he do? Oh, wait a minute. What's he doing on the first highlight? Oh, look at the mobility.
That's a dangerous pass.
That's what you do when you have a threat to run. They respected the inside
He
run.
doesn't even get the credit for the touchdown pass there.
He's a team player. They respected the inside run. Here we go. American Heritage, South Florida defense. Oh, what's he doing? We're not even seeing him.
Wow.
Throw it down the field. We're just
that
seeing the
looks
athlete.
like Tim Tebow.
Just like him.
Yeah, well.
With a much better arm.
All right, here we go. This is the Cam Ward play. I think it actually is from
all right,
10.
it was from 15. no, all right, we got the 20.
Guys.
20. That's a 20. We're at 25.
Boom.
That's a 25.
Jacoby George. Boom.
25.
If you're in the comments, Pete replay that one more time.
Pete,
I'll replay it, but I was right.
Hang on. Let me see where the Cam Ward was.
In the comment, guys, comments.
A 40-yard pass.
Comments. Tell us what this is in the comments about this. Tell me this is not. Didn't Cam Ward do this twice last year? Look at this. He's looking for Jacoby George. He's looking for Jacoby George back in the end zone. Boom. Where's Tessitore?
That looks more like Tony Romo than Cam Ward. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right.
I'll give you a Tony Romo. I'm not giving you Cam Ward.
Hey, Cam Ward has this ball. It's a 25-yard line.
There it is.
It's a 20. I'm watching the play right now. Cam Ward was maybe 2 yards further back than
where
Luke
was
Nickel.
it snapped?
It was snapped at the 25.
So someone said Blake.
Roll up the play.
Someone said Blake Bortles in the chat. Look at these bombs, man.
I was convinced it was a 40-yard pass.
Here, Randy
just had this one wrong.
Randy Ellison, it does look like Cam on that play. What can I tell you?
It's almost the exact same spot in the field, the Cam Ward play. I'm watching it again right now. Look.
Wait, look at the athleticism, by the way. Oh, look at this run. Look at this physical run. Oh, he ran 3 guys. Pete, this guy just ran 4 guys over. You're telling me.
Look, you told me he looked like Jalen Hurts running. That does not look like Jalen Hurts running the football. I'm sorry.
Here's the play. That's
25-yard line.
That's a 23-yard line.
Oh, wait, hold on. Is it another? Look at this. Oh, hold on. Replay this. Pete, replay this one right here. Replay this one right here. Mike, take a look at this one right here. Replay this one, Pete. Replay this one. How many times do we see this one all year? Now, half the time it got intercepted, but when it was completed, look at this. They're saying he's a pocket quarterback, stereotyping him. Look at this. What? Look at the vision. Look at the playmaking. Boom.
That was a very Tebow-like pass, though.
That was a camp type play. He did that. Remember that was the one he got intercepted to the crib against California.
I kind of want the receiver after watching.
I know the receivers. They got 2 receivers going to Georgia, and they're the number 1 team in the country for a reason. But here we go. I mean, look at this accuracy, the ball placement. This guy I think, is also going to Georgia. They got a couple. Bilto was undefeated for those who don't know. In the state champions of Georgia, Nickel was 21 of 22 in the championship game. So, we're starting the hype train early. They said he didn't have arm strength.
This is a big play.
They said he didn't have arm strength. Boom.
That
might have been a handoff. That might have been a handoff.
Pete.
You guys are completely
Jalen Hurts can't
taking my word. I think Luke Nickel's a nice prospect, but D-Money has said some wild things about him.
Oh, there's another Cam. Look, does Cam not do this? Is the Cam Ward interception play? Except he completes it because it's not, in college. He does that same play. Look at this. Oh, back shoulder. Look at that. I mean, he's showing you an arsenal here, Pete.
Pete,
you can be a good prospect, and there's levels to it.
Pete, watch the Cam Ward throw.
I'm sorry.
Watch the Cam Ward throw that the Florida Gator ends up in the hedges.
Oh, look at the placement here. Oh, we got Geraldo here. Geraldo Cadet. Guys, I work for Fulton School North. I had the opportunity to watch this guy play. This kid is incredible. Thank you, Geraldo. I appreciate that.
Can you put the original play on one more time? I'm not so sure. I think Nichols was further back.
No,
than
don't
Cam
put it because we
Ward.
get a copyright violation, Mike.
If he does
yeah.
it twice?
Oh yeah.
No, I didn't put the
Don't
Cam.
put
No,
the
he
Cam
didn't.
Ward.
No, not the Cam Ward.
look
Like
at this.
I'm asking for the original play because I had watched the Cam Ward one as you were throwing these highlights.
There's nothing for me to give up. I've been saying he's a good prospect. I wouldn't trust him as the
Look at the
as
Tebow.
quarterback.
Look at the Tebow. Look,
If we didn't get
That's Sean Mateer
Carson
right
Beck, I
there.
would
That's
have
Sean
wanted to
Mateer.
start.
Pete, rewind that play.
That's
Oh
Sean
my God, he
Mateer.
was rumbling and stumbling. I don't know.
Pete, rewind that play. Pete, rewind that play. This is Georgia football, folks. This is not Pee Wee. This is not
You
intramural.
could argue
brother.
a better
Look
state
at
high
this.
school.
This is the exact Tebow play. Runs
Football
over
state.
2 guys,
Wow.
and then the speed to finish.
He doesn't run them over.
What do you
Come
call
on.
that, Pete? They bounced off.
They
and they're on the
bounced
ground.
off of a run. He didn't run them over. They're not like on the ground.
They are
like
on the
a Tim
ground.
Tebow run.
Show me the Luke Nickel Cam Ward facsimile. There's just one thing I want to see because I actually think it was a further throw than Cam Ward's.
Oh, look at off the back foot. Wait, Pete.
Are you kidding?
This guy's making throws off the back foot.
That's
this
a
guy's
little
a
lucky.
playmaker.
That's a little lucky. It's a good adjustment.
I'm
That's
not
a nice
trusting
play.
him
That's
as
lucky.
the quarterback if Carson Beck wasn't
Pete,
here. Like
I'm not giving D Money that last highlight. He got lucky there.
Okay, another design run. I feel bad for the guys going to
Gosh.
tackle him at the end.
Wow.
Drags him.
Is that Jalen Hurts?
Look at that.
Swag.
Someone asked what Luke Nichols squats. Luke Nichols got to squat 500. Here we go. Another Cam Ward-esque downfield throw.
That is a very difficult throw.
On the money.
That is a very difficult throw. That's a crazy throw.
Here we go.
He's good.
904 Hurricane. It
He's
speaks
good.
to the type of
Do you think
quarterback.
Carson Beck can beat this guy out?
He better get healthy
He better
fast.
get healthy fast.
Carson Beck's going to be going to Germany to get some stem cells after he watches practice and sees this guy throw touchdowns.
Yeah.
904 Hurricane says it speaks to the type of quarterback Miami is looking for, someone with some mobility and can throw from many platforms. Coleman is like that as well.
Folks, are you watching this, folks?
While getting hit, I mean, the placement, guys.
We told you. We told you the tape wouldn't lie.
There's American Heritage, by the way. They're pretty good at football.
Pretty
here.
solid school.
Let's
Wouldn't you
see.
say, Pete?
Let's see.
Oh,
there we go.
You can't go to the
Let's
Judd
go.
Anderson highlights. It was just about to get good.
All right,
You were about to capitulate.
all right, let's start lying about this guy though too.
Oh.
Boom! Look at that.
Oh, look him
Look at
fit
that.
it in that window, baby.
That was
God,
That
look
was-
at the effortless release. Look at the flick.
Country Can. You guys sound like women drooling over Fabio.
what a reference. Pete, pull up the picture
Oh,
of Fabio hitting a bird
look
on a
at
roller
this.
coaster.
By the way, so this is actually similar competition. So this is apples to apples. This year is high level Georgia competition, the top competition in the state. Judd's got talent, man.
This is going to be a difficult podcast to listen to.
I know. I feel bad for the people on audio. We're just here watching TV while they drive. I'll do some play-by-play. Judd, little hitch. Oh, look at that.
Cam
Improvising.
Ward. That looks like Cam Ward. That looks like Cam Ward. Look at him.
Was that a pick?
I would have thought maybe Josh Allen.
Was that a
little bit.
pick?
A little Josh Allen to him.
I think he threw an interception on that play. I don't think that was caught. That's a nice throw.
There you go. So, Judd, you see the size here. You see the fluid athleticism from the basketball background. Look at that. He does have a good arm when he's throwing over the middle. Can drive it.
He can drive it. He can drive it.
Oh, when he's going over the middle?
Lance Aresta says Judd reminds me of Jack Allison. Actually, not a bad comp. Hopefully, it turns out better. But look, see the athleticism from Judd.
Wow, that little stutter step there. I like that.
As much as I joke about Nichols' athleticism,
Scoop, big boy,
No,
scoop.
Judd's got it.
Judd's faster.
Yeah,
Judd is definitely faster. than
Judd's
you guys.
athletic, no doubt.
Keynes Jones says you'll need to open the window. The smoke must be thick and potent in that room.
I mean, is Kane Jones not watching these highlights?
I know, man. He must be listening on audio. Look at this bomb here from Judd Anderson.
All right,
perfectly placed.
Now,
Yeah, we got a battle
in
here.
the interest of fairness, throw up a couple of Emory Williams 7-yard outs, please.
Boom.
Wow, the future is bright.
I know.
The future is bright.
Carson,
Look, you
that-
got a guy that you
that
like.
room is special. That
You
room
got
is special.
We have
That
elevated
room
this
is
room.
special.
I feel so good about this room right now.
Wow. Wow.
Oh, man, it's
Dude,
always, it's not even
cigarette.
February yet. What are these guys going to be compared to by the time? I mean, what comps we're going to be using by August 14th? Maybe like a Staubach comp.
Pete, the nickel throw is further than Cam's at Gainesville.
I'm not giving you that.
It
one.
was.
I'm just not giving
Dog,
it.
I was watching it simultaneously.
Country
It
Kane
was.
says, you guys just blew one of my Alpine speakers in my truck with your excitement. Yeah, Pete, you were pretty loud at that one. If someone's listening on headphones, they're unsubscribing at the moment. Like and subscribe if you still have your headphones and if you can tolerate loud noises.
Is this the best quarterback room we've ever had?
There it is. Johnny Laguna already said it. He just said, "Is this the 1982 Miami quarterback room?"
Wow.
Here we go. Just pull the picture here. Hold on.
How are we 2.5 point dog opening up against Notre Dame? How?
They haven't seen the depth of the quarterback room.
We
Well,
have
they haven't
we
seen
have
Nickel
three.
yet. They haven't seen him yet.
Tell you what, I say we trot out Carson Beck no matter what, but he could be a decoy.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Play close to the vest.
We should, guys. We should probably stop this discussion so people don't, learn what we got going. Notre Dame's gonna be listening to this show.
Mhm.
We got over 1,000 on live.
Steven Posada said, "You three are why Mario should open spring practice." Would love to do a live show straight from practice. Give you guys the play-by-play.
All right, Pete, pull up the picture I just sent you
We
here.
should be embargoed. We should be able to have our honest practice thoughts like a year after. I got all sorts of I didn't go to Good Judd once, and I didn't go to Good Emory once. I went to a solid Jakari one, and you know me and Puff.
Yeah, we're trying so hard to make Pop a thing.
That was my angel. I'm gonna be such a mean green guy. I love that spot for him.
That's gonna be that's gonna be picked quite a bit on the on our weekly picks, which I think there it is. Here's the quarterback room here.
All right.
So you got Judd Anderson on the far left. You got Luke Nickel standing to the right of Earl Morrill here.
Who's most likely to be a head coach at the next level? Is it Luke Nickel?
Well, to be the Mark Richt?
Yeah.
That'll be Emory.
All right.
Yeah, that's Emory right there. Bernie Kosar, that might be Nickel right here. Kiki Vandeweghe, it will be who else we got in the room?
Special. Man.
Kiki Vandeweghe will be
what a program. I thank God every day that he made me a Miami Hurricane.
Oh yeah. This is look at these uniforms, man. These are classic.
Hey, speaking of the uniforms, I haven't asked anybody really. We have the Centennial. We've seen Miami men's basketball honor the Centennial with a 100-year anniversary patch. We're kind of, bubbling. We're back a little bit. We're back-ish. Not fully back, but we're back to relevancy, no doubt. It's our 100-year anniversary. If you go to the women's basketball games, they're honoring it. Every game, there's a different cool giveaway.
I'm not gonna stay on your point, but I asked you this. We were talking about this. I was at the women's basketball game last week.
Yeah, tough season though.
Very tough season. By the way, my interview with Jasmine Roberts on Storm Sessions just came out today. Check that one out. Did one with Cam Williams last week. She was amazing. Storm Sessions, official University of Miami podcast, hosted by yours truly. Go like and subscribe. She was amazing. The women it's like the easiest interviews in the world. They're gonna refer. They're all like
my daughter has a Jasmine.
Oh yeah,
bought one of those NIL shirts.
Nice.
Also on the 30th, they actually have a women in sports day that if you bring your kids to that game, the team's going to stay for autographs afterwards. It's a really cool event. Check out their IG. They're promoting it. And one of our former players, Hollywood, is coming back. It's Virginia. It should be a really good game. So make sure to mark your calendars, January 30th. That's a big one to go to if you want to have a great family time with your kids and meet some of these players because they're awesome with kids.
We'll be out there January 30th. Remember, again, like and subscribe to Storm Sessions, YouTube. It's also on Apple Music or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Jasmine. There's a lot of talent on this team. They will turn it around.
I have a lot of respect for Jasmine. She was a Titan two tournaments ago. That run, she was the most consistent clutch player on that team. And that team had Destiny Horton on it.
We talked about the Villanova performance that she had. She was a great interview. But anyways, that Centennial thing at the women's basketball, they were playing a lot of 1920s music.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it was a little out of tune with the vibe of the room. Like they play slow jazz, sometimes just really summertime and the living's easy and it's kind of slow.
Has me worried for football season. Can't lie.
What was the
given where our DJ had us last year?
What was DJ Volume? DJ Volume. Okay, a lot of pressure on you from the top down to play 1920s Centennial music. Choose wisely. Be smart. Don't fall into the trap and kill some moods. This Notre Dame's the first game. You can't warm up to the season. You got to come in.
If you play Party Rock Anthem one more time, we're done. All right? I've been respecting the construct. I do DJ. I dabble. I don't want to take shots. But the last game I went to, you played Party Rock Anthem by LMFAO 4 times. That's 4 times too many. It must stop.
Sebastian saying he's going to have us begging for Party Rock after some of these 1920s DJ Volume.
My original question. We've seen Miami wear throwbacks. Remember, they had the gold helmets with the hurricane flags and the brighter green jerseys, gold pants. Solid look. Miami's kind of teasing stuff on their socials, going through all the helmets that they've had. Did you know that they wore did they have a Beat the Gators helmet at one point? Let me go back, but I think for one game they had an opponent customized helmet that was talking smack at the Gators. We should do that for the Gator game. But I'm wondering for the Centennial, Adidas got to bust out something for this year, right?
I mean, we already kind of are close to our classic uniform right now. You know, do we want to go to the gold helmet and the green jersey? That was a, catastrophe when we did that back in the Kyle Wright, Tyro Moss era, RIP.
Right,
if you guys remember that one.
We wore a helmet that said "Get a Gator."
Huh.
I'm gonna put that in the chat right now. Hang on, and Pete can throw it up there. But we absolutely wore a helmet that said "Get a Gator."
Eldridge Primus saying, "Give me some Pitbull Trick Dad. You represent some Miami Rick Ross." No more Living La Vida Loca from Ghost and Yvonne Donaldson. Oh, I'll say, Living La Vida Loca was written by a Miami Beach high grad who also wrote Living on a Prayer by Bon Jovi. So,
what?
Yeah, check him out. His name's like, someone in the chat helped me out. I was like, my beach house right next to my house. So I was looking up some famous alums. This guy's name popped up. Desmond Child wrote "Living La Vida Loca" and some other classic songs. Also wrote some great hits for Kiss.
I love Kiss.
Oh, the best, most influential.
Not the best
American band.
Don't you even dare.
Wow, these are sick.
Oh yeah, no, hands down. Best American, not individual, like American band. Kiss. Who else would be there?
I can name like several.
Who?
I can name several.
Who?
Like, really?
Yeah.
I can name 50. We want to do this?
We've been waiting. Better right. American bands than Kiss.
Yeah.
Who?
All right, let's begin. Nirvana.
No.
What?
Nirvana's better than Kiss? How? Based on what criteria? Not records sold.
Based off of music that they make.
Wow.
I heard them cover Kiss at the Unplugged that they did. Which itself was a ripoff of Elvis's 1968 comeback special.
White Stripes.
I love the White Stripes.
Metallica.
Love the White Stripes.
Metallica with Metallica's their crappy drummer is better than Kiss.
Okay, he's not a crappy drummer, and that's
he's not a crappy drummer.
No, he's not a crappy.
Do you think Lars is a good drummer?
Yeah, yes, I think the drummer for one of the biggest bands of all time is good at his instrument. It's like this is not like a talent show.
I
think he was holding him back.
How
great are these helmets?
The better thing is they have a little like historical blurb underneath here, and it says that the 7-4 record of 1967 was a letdown as Playboy magazine had chosen the Canes as the preseason #1 team in the country.
Really?
What was this?
Well, what year was
67.
That? Wow, we really fell on our face that year, huh? So we should do this for the Florida game. Wear a helmet that says "Get a Gator." Can you imagine how social media would just run amok with that?
We got a lot of Beach Boys here. A lot of Beach Boys from Ghost and Yvonne Donaldson, Sebastian Vera.
Pantera, look, privately, I still celebrate their catalog, but he did one of those "My Heart Goes Out to You" salutes at a concert, and it was just not great. Just not a great scene.
Yeah,
I would say Deftones are even better.
Deftones are better than Kiss.
Yes, Deftones are way better than Kiss, and they're going to rival them in terms of longevity.
Longevity.
Stripes.
The Deftones are. I already forgot about the Deftones.
Deftones have been around.
Longevity.
How long have the Deftones been around? I understand.
I don't even remember when they were here.
Mini Kiss has been around for 50 years. I understand Kiss has been around for a long time, but Deftones are over 30 years old.
Were they ever here? Were they ever in? Like, when were they famous?
They're selling out the arena in Broward.
What
Amarant.
Arena? What, the War Memorial?
No, Amarant.
No way. Deftones?
Yes. They're bigger than they've ever been.
Kiss is selling out stadiums in Japan.
Yeah, but the kids on TikTok ain't messing with Kiss. They're not playing Rock and Roll All Night. They're playing Change.
They're not playing Rock and Roll All Night.
Our
kids are playing Rock and Roll.
How about the Chili Peppers? Chili Peppers better.
No.
Than
Kiss?
Than Kiss? Yes.
Okay.
The Strokes. The Killers.
Strokes.
The Strokes.
Mike,
Killers.
Mike.
Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
Mike, please step outside of Pitchfork magazine and Reddit and enter the real world where Kiss is blaring from speakers from here to Tokyo.
Kiss.
All of these bands, you talk about influence.
You want to tell me I don't love Kiss? I love Kiss.
I don't think you can relate to some of these lyrics because no place for hiding, baby, no place to run. You pull the trigger of my
love gun.
That's it. You can't. Deftones, if I say that, no one's going to know any of the lyrics I'm talking about.
This guy's trying to tell me I don't like Kiss. I'm going to walk right up here.
Okay, we got some CCR in the comments. Led Zeppelin, they're not from America.
They're not American.
Slipknot.
Well, they can't see it. My face is covering it.
Oh.
Is that Jeff Hardy?
I'll take myself off. Hold on. Ready?
Trying to tell me this guy doesn't know Love Gun.
There you go.
That guy knows Love Gun.
There you go.
That guy knows Love Gun.
There you go. A classic Halloween costume.
No, that was at a Kiss show.
I don't see people dressing like
That was me at Kiss.
yeah, I don't see people dressing like the Strokes.
How many times have you seen everyone dresses like the Strokes? They
Oh,
dress
yeah, and the places, the clubs you go to.
Steve
they
is
do dress
asking
like
what
that.
percentage of your viewers leave when you start talking about wrestling, and the numbers go up.
The numbers go up,
Man,
Steve. It's
seriously.
Steve, it is to Pete's chagrin.
Green Day.
The Rolling Stones. Rolling Stones aren't from America.
Green Day.
Leonard Skinner's the first good choice I've heard from Florida, the free state of Florida. Leonard Skinner.
Do you think Kiss is better than Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers?
By a mile? It's not even close.
By a mile?
You can't rock out to Tom Petty. Tom Petty is music you put on to be mid. Like if you want to just relax and like not think about anything, you put on Tom Petty. If you want to rock and potentially roll for the duration of the night,
I love
you
Kiss.
put on Kiss.
I love Kiss.
The debut album is better.
Kiss
than
has 8 songs, bro.
8 songs.
Kiss has 8 songs, bro.
The debut album is a classic, probably one of the best debuts of all time. Love Gun is a classic. Destroyer is a classic. Kiss Alive is the best, most influential live album of all time.
Between this take and your Luke Nickel take, you're losing it, D.
Talking Heads.
What about him? Like, you're talking about like on TV, you know, the band Talking Heads?
The band Talking Heads.
Like,
you think Kiss is better than Talking Heads?
The whole world thinks Kiss is better than Talking Heads. Kiss has sold like 500 million records across the world. And Talking Heads, no one's heard of outside of Pitchfork magazine.
Mike, I don't know why you're looking at
Step
me. I
into
have
the
no
real
idea
world.
what's happening.
Step into the real world, Mike. Kiss. There's no Rage Against the Machine without Kiss. There's no
Rage Against the Machine,
another
band.
There's no Weezer without Kiss.
Now you're just naming bands that are all better than Kiss.
They would not exist without Kiss. They wouldn't even be.
I'm not
picking up a guitar
Stone
without
Temple
Kiss.
Pilots.
Mike.
Jimi Hendrix.
That's not a band. That's a human.
The Jimi Hendrix Experience.
There's British people in there. They don't count.
Stooges.
Stooges are good. They're good. I like the Stooges.
British people, they don't count.
They don't count. They don't count. Stooges count. By the way, you know where Iggy Pop lives in Miami Beach?
Yes.
He rolls around in a Rolls Royce
with those
blasting
macaws.
Cuban music.
With the macaw.
Yeah, we have more green parakeets in Miami Beach, but you'll see Iggy Pop rolling around. He rolls around a Rolls Royce blasting Cuban music all the time, smoking cigars.
Fleetwood
Iggy
Mac.
Pop.
Don't use a loophole because one of them is English.
Yeah, they got British people in there.
Come on,
Yeah,
dude.
they got British people in there.
Come on.
They got British people
The
in
most important one.
They don't rock hard enough either, but too many British people. Too many British people. Don't count. Don't count. I'll give you the Eagles. The Eagles and Kiss, to me, is the battle. But Kiss just rocks better. They rock a little harder.
So you think Kiss is better than Nirvana?
Nirvana sucks.
Nirvana sucks?
Mike, what happened after Nirvana? Rock was dead. Did Rock live after Nirvana? Like after Nirvana, people were like, you know what? I'm done with rock.
You know who actually killed like all the influence Kiss had? Because all those hair bands were derivative of Kiss. That was Kiss, their glam influence.
Right. So Nirvana killed that. And then,
yes, Nirvana killed it.
And then you know what happened after that? Rock band stopped selling out stadiums. Rock band stopped being number one on the charts.
Led to the
rock band became irrelevant because Nirvana killed what was good and replaced it with something that was lame.
Nirvana killed what was good because the singer killed himself. That's why.
Listen, that's how I feel. That's how I feel when I listen to an album of that stuff.
Whoa, come on, dude.
It's the press. It's for losers.
It's not for
Kiss makes music for people that like to rock and roll all night and party every single day. That's why they have the song.
Part of every day.
Part of every day.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
I don't like to rock and roll all night and party every day. Part of every day.
So you like nap and recover?
I change the lyrics. Part of every day.
So you take a nap
I
during the day.
thought
and
that's what
rock
the
at
song
night?
said.
A lot of people do.
Yeah. Anyways,
you think Kiss is better than Pearl Jam?
So, Foo Fighters would like a word with what?
Not even his best band.
Foo
All right.
Fighters would like a word.
Not even Dave Grohl's best band. Also, we've covered it. Dave Grohl somehow wrote the greatest love song of that rock era, but also a terrible songwriter. Incredible. He wrote Everlong and then Learning to Walk Again.
Rich Andrews, D Money, can you just admit that this is your opinion and not even close to everybody's reality? So I'm gonna look at best-selling
I would give
American bands.
I would give
of all
Kiss
time.
the edge.
So
are we doing Prince and his backing bands? The New Revolution.
What about Prince? Prince is great.
Prince. Are we counting Prince? Or are you just going singular artist there? Weezer's definitely better than Kiss.
Weezer didn't exist without Kiss. Weezer's singing about having Kiss posters on his wall. You think that Gene Simmons is singing about having Rivers Cuomo posters on his wall?
Gene Simmons is just singing about Simmons.
He's singing about the God of Thunder. He's singing about Norse gods. He's singing about a lot of sexual innuendo. Pretty much every song.
Every lyric. I love Kiss. They're not even in the top 20.
All
They're
right.
not even in the top 20.
The Eagles is the best-selling American band. Yeah, the Eagles is the one that I could respect in the conversation. Kiss and Eagles to me are the top two. The Eagles just they can't crank up the rock factor to where it's got to be for me.
You'll give me Metallica too?
Metallica's probably third. Those three: Kiss, Eagles, and Metallica. We'll put those in the three, and it just depends on kind of what your style of music. If you like more metal, you go Metallica. If you like to chill more, you go with the Eagles.
Green Day.
If you're trying to, Mike?
No, what do you mean, Mike? Green Day.
What about Green Day?
You're not giving me Green Day?
I'm giving them to you, and you can keep them, and you can take them home. I'm not giving it to you with the top American band.
Talking
they
Heads
didn't
are
sound
better.
American. They pretended to be British when they sang. I thought they were British until I was like 30.
Didn't.
Yeah, the guy has a fake British accent.
No, he doesn't. That's just
He's
Billy
from
Joe
San
Francisco.
I know, but do you not have a fake British accent?
No.
He talks like he sings like one of these like punks. Like he's just like impression of a punk from the 70s from England.
That's not.
He's got
English.
a fake British accent. I thought he was British until I was like 30. It's like Barbara Walters. I always thought they were like Kelsey Grammer.
Kelsey Grammer is a good one. It
Yeah.
does. That accent doesn't actually exist.
All right, so we got Oasis being said. So I think the point of the game has been lost here, Paulo. But anyways,
I understand their influence, and you can't ignore their influence. Pete, back me up on this one, but Weezer's definitely better.
so here goes. 80s rock with
I
sex,
was
drugs,
kidding.
and
I
rock
don't
and
know
roll
anything
until
about
Nirvana
this.
showed up. So we replaced sex, drugs, and rock and roll with drugs and suicide. And Mike's trying to tell me that this is an improvement on the genre. I mean, come on.
I mean, rock definitely needed saving. Thank God for grunge. However, the loss of Kurt Cobain was so tragic that rock music just kind of puttered along until nu metal, Korn and Limp Bizkit and Deftones saved the day.
Lil
Yeah,
Uzi
you left
Vert
out Kid
saved
Rock, who was the best artist of that era and the one that's still making relevant music.
He is not making relevant music. Deftones are. And Deftones are selling out arenas. Whereas Kid Rock, I saw him rapping on the back of a Cybertruck at a rodeo the other day.
Journey's a good one, although I think the lead singer is Filipino now, so I don't know if they
Yes,
count
but
still.
Steve Perry,
Is he a Filipino American or from the Philippines?
He's from the Philippines.
Those guys sing their butts off in the Philippines.
Yeah.
Karaoke capital of the world. We might have talked about it on a prior show.
You know what? Just do your song of the week.
Yeah, no, we got a football fast. The Luke Nickel talk made us delirious.
Well, because you had Kiss as the greatest American rock band. Like, if you want to argue influence, Beach Boys are better.
Beach Boys are okay. Okay. Kiss took the formula and rocked it up a little
Who's
bit.
more evil, Beach Boys or Kiss?
I mean, probably Beach Boys based on what you hear. The Kiss are good guys, man. They just,
Well, because everyone was like, Kiss stands for Knights in Satan's Service, and you know the guy's a demon and he sticks his tongue out. Like,
they're just trying to
Beach
make
Boys
money.
were partying and hanging out with Charlie Manson.
That's right. That's right.
Beach Boys are way more dangerous.
That's right. I remember the part in Dazed and Confused where they all started talking about how they wanted to go to a Deftones concert, and that was the whole point of the movie. You remember that part?
Oh my God!
Or the part in Happy Gilmore where the
Stop.
grandma was wearing a Deftones mask and surprised Happy
You know what?
Gilmore. Or the part in Role Models
We're
where
right
they all
now.
went to a
Yeah, I
Deftones
understand.
reunion.
Watch how Deftones infiltrates pop culture, because it took Kiss several years to become like that kind of nostalgic influence.
All right,
Detroit Rock City. There's definitely going to be a great Deftones movie made.
So while we're talking about American music,
Have you ever watched Queen of the Damned?
No, it's
It's
good.
a new metal like that. If you want to encapsulate a terrible era of music with a bad movie but fun to watch, that's a guilty pleasure of mine. Queen of the Damned, the soundtrack.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I know
Jonathan Davis of Korn does all the singing in the movie, but then they had their own soundtrack, and then all the songs that Jonathan Davis sang, they just basically handed out to the new metal all-stars. So Chester from Linkin Park has a song, the dude from Disturbed has a song, the dude from Orgy has a song. Watch Queen of the Damned. It'll take you back.
Jonathan Davis. I haven't thought about that guy in a while.
I saw Korn in concert the other day.
Was it good?
It was during the season. It was actually after the Ball State game. After I was like, man, Emery's good. Let me go watch Korn.
How was it?
He was great. Jonathan Davis sounds amazing.
Yeah, that Woodstock performance was pretty cool, where they had the whole crowd going insane right before they went out. That was pretty badass.
Red Hot Chili Peppers are better than Kiss.
So here we go. So we're talking about American artists. So I try to go through my American artist Mount Rushmore. Now we're not talking about bands. We're talking about individual artists. And to me, I think you have a lot of great candidates that you have to, you have to think about every time. Obviously Elvis. You talk about James Brown, Sam Cooke would be in that conversation. Burt Bacharach. Those are some of the names that I think you talk about American artists. Others might have a Bob Dylan, a Jimi Hendrix, guys like that. To me, on the American music Mount Rushmore, it's incomplete without the great Hank Williams, the greatest songwriter this country's ever produced, lyricist, you name it. Hank Williams, the father of country music, father of modern country, there was country music already, but he took it to a level that will never be topped. The simplicity of the lyrics and the heartbreak, which is why I use a lot of Hank Williams songs on my preseason podcast to express the heartbreak of what just happened in the season prior. One of the best songwriters at being, having your heart ripped from your chest. That is Hank Williams. One of his best songs, Lost Highway. I wanted to include that one on the podcast, but it was a little too honky. It might have broken up the flow. By the way, the Canes Insight podcast, download it on Spotify, on Apple Music. Just write Canes Insight to Spotify or Apple Music. Playlist will pop up, all of our songs, all of my preseason pod songs. Anyways, so I wanted to do something a little more modern. So Jeff Buckley, the late Jeff Buckley, great singer, one of the better singers of the 90s, of really of the modern era.
Yeah.
He does a version of Lost Highway, which is outstanding. Pretty much just him and the guitar. This is the Hank Williams hit from the late 1940s. He updates it, gives it a new flavor. Unbelievable song, unbelievable performance of the song. Shout out to Jeff Buckley and shout out to the great Hank Williams.
Can I say something real quick?
Yes, please.
So I usually listen to the songs that you guys send before I, make the graphic.
This one's a bit of a drag, isn't it?
This was one of the worst songs I've ever listened to. I'm sorry that I've been on a hater theme today, but this was unlistenable.
Well, sometimes you do like the songs, and I appreciate your feedback.
I do. I really do. But that's why I had to say something about this.
I appreciate that. Not the song that I would go with off that album, but D had a whole larger point that he was trying to make. This album by Jeff Buckley called Grace is an amazing album. Jeff Buckley drowned, I believe, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
In Memphis. Yep.
Gone way too soon. Jeff Buckley had one of the most beautiful voices. In fact, if you're a veteran of the early seasons of American Idol, you know how much Simon Cowell loves the song Hallelujah. And for me, the quintessential version is Jeff Buckley's version. If you haven't listened to this album, because he wasn't around for a very long time, he kind of just got lost in this era. An everlasting album, a talent that's gone way too soon. The guy would still be selling out venues left and right here in the States. This album's one of my all-time favorite albums, so it did warm the cockles of my heart, D-Money, when you picked this song. Well, probably the weakest on the album.
It's an outtake, but look at this. There's a champion, D-Money, another horrific take. Looking forward to Mike Ryan following up with another horrific take. Before I kick the mic, one comment I want to address. Nassau Jones saying Hank Williams is not the father of country music. You're right. Hank Williams is not the father. It was around, you go back to Jimmy Rogers, talk about the Carter family. It all preceded him. But in terms of what it is today, he took it to a level, and they're still imitating him, trying to catch him. I heard Katie Musgraves singing "You Win Again" the other day. He's everything that came before him was okay, but everything that came after him was in his image. Hank Williams, the go-to country, and a great songwriter, and wrote a lot of songs that both represent the feeling of a country singer who had his woman cheating on him, but also to me represent Miami Hurricane football fans every year when we get our heart broken. So Hank's provide a lot of soundtracks.
I like Junior's All My Rowdy Friends.
That's Hank Williams Jr.
I said Junior's.
Oh yeah. There you go.
I mean, he can take credit for that.
Look at you.
Yeah. I mean, it's an iconic song. It's certainly more famous than anything Senior made.
No. Moving on.
He knows all the lyrics to that song.
Moving on over, by the way, is
the Monday Night Football theme by Hank Williams Jr. All my rowdy friends are here for Monday night. Get ready. Come on, get ready. Are you ready for some football? On Monday night. You never, what?
Yeah,
you never heard?
I think he's Carrie Underwood era. He's a little young.
I
remember. Never heard the Hank Williams Jr.?
I mean, I heard it, but it didn't really
we got Al and John gonna get this thing started.
I remember it, but it's not like something that I'm like, wow, that song. I remember it.
So you're a Carrie Underwood guy.
I don't know who that is.
I think Pink had the better version of the Sunday Night Football theme, personally.
By the way, Moving On Over by Hank Williams is not often talked about in the first rock song conversation, but listen to Move It On Over by Hank Williams, written, I want to say, in 1949. Some might say it's the first rock song. I would say it's pretty close. Listen to Move It On Over, Hank Williams.
Was that a cover that George Thorogood and the Destroyers did?
Nico Jones, this absolute is now the absolute widest in history. Wait till Mike makes his music choice.
George Thorogood and the Destroyers, better than Kiss.
Get out of here. All right, let's see.
Still doing the thing.
Sports, my favorite username. Sports wants to know, what does Pete listen to?
Should I go through my
anything
my
that's
Apple
on FIFA?
Music?
Let's get
Pete will surprise you. Pete sends me like
a little bit of everything, a lot of rap music. Tweaker by Jello Ball, one of the most recent songs I've downloaded. We got Slime Season 2 by Young Thug finally on Apple Music after all these years, after 10 years. We have ABBA Gold, Gimme, Gimme, Gimme,
There we
one of
go.
my recent additions.
Great one.
D-Lo Curry, album by Bossman D-Lo, great song. Great album, I should say. What else we got here? A lot of Central C, a lot of Young Nudie.
You're only sending me the hipster stuff?
I mean, no, I have Billie Eilish, who I just found out about. Fantastic talent. Great song from her from this last album, Hit Me Hard and Soft. She hero.
I'm going to give D-Money credit for his Kiss take a little bit, because the band that I'm going with for my song of the week probably doesn't exist without Kiss's influence in terms of the theatrics. Going with a band called Slipknot, which is from that new metal era. I just saw this movie. I'm not done with it yet, but it's this movie called Y2K. It's directed by Kyle Mooney, formerly of SNL, and it's very much of that era. The whole theme of it is Y2K was real and all the machines come to kill people, but it's a comedy, high school comedy, and the soundtrack's amazing. And Fred Durst has a pretty big role in the film. But very few of those new metal bands had staying power. Even Limp Bizkit had to go away for a while. They all had their doldrums as people thought that genre was whack. And then nostalgia happened. And now we're all circling back to it. And I'm like, that was a guilty pleasure. One band that stayed pretty popular through those doldrums, still selling out arenas, was Slipknot. Slipknot was in that era, but not necessarily new metal. They were metal, very theatrical. I don't know if you've ever seen this band live. I doubt either of you have. They're scary. I'm not gonna lie to you. Little demonic vibes coming. You know, they're all dressed like psycho clowns. There's 666s everywhere. There's like a million drums. There's hellfire, brimstone, everything that Kane would walk through. But man, do they put on a show, and those drums bang. They also have great, very melodic songs. You think because of the way that they look that it's just a guy screaming at you the entire time. That's not the case. Corey Taylor's got a beautiful voice. In fact, he has side projects in which he can flex that muscle. I love this band, and I used to be a hater because I was raised very Christian, and Slipknot was just a non-starter for me. But they played at a festival that I go to every year called Welcome to Rockville. I'm like, okay, let me finally give this band a chance because they're headlining. Wow. I was robbing myself of some grade A satanic music. This band really fires me up. I've seen them live. They're great. The song that I'm going with is Before I Forget. That's one of those that's a little bit more catchy, but Duality, Wait and Bleed, Left Behind. This band, I got so many Slipknot shirts now. They totally won me over, and they're not as Satanist as you would think.
So let me get this. So we're talking Wear Mask, have melodic songs over heavy riffs, put on a show with tremendous pyro. Sounds like they're in the
Kiss
steps of the greatest American, most influential
I'm giving you
band.
your flowers. Giving you your flowers. However, they have surpassed Kiss with their catalog. I listen to both, seen them both multiple times, seen them both at that festival, same year. Much better time, much better catalog, Slipknot, for me.
Who had a bigger crowd?
Who had the bigger crowd? Slipknot.
Really?
Yeah.
People are losing it.
But it was also, Kiss went on a Thursday night, which opens the festival. And, you know, they're a legacy act. Slipknot is still very much like in its prime, kind of. Slipknot had the bigger draw there.
Okay. Got Surfside saying, or Son of the Beach saying gimmicky rock. The music's not gimmicky. It's the all the extra show.
Yeah, but do you count System of a Down an American band, or we count them as Armenian?
No, I mean, he's Armenian American, right? He was born here, wasn't he?
Let me ask.
Isn't he from like Riverside or something?
I think so. But he does kind of have an accent. Is System of a Down American?
Goes to Devon Donaldson saying no.
Yes, they are an American band.
How do we have 1,200 people on for this nonsense?
Glendale, California.
Glendale, that's where they all are.
So another band that's better than Kiss, System of a Down, selling out stadiums.
Where?
In this country. They're actually playing MetLife back-to-back nights.
Really?
Yeah. Korn is opening up for System of a Down. They're selling out stadiums in South America. They're selling out Rogers Center in Toronto. They sold it out because Deftones are opening up for them.
All right, so we'll move Deftones down a notch.
I'm good with that. System of a Down is like tremendous.
You know, I'll said the Strokes, Apollo. We used to cover the Strokes. I had a band back in the day. We used to play the Oxygen, which is like the old Chili Pepper down in Coconut Grove by like the Mayfair. And we would play the Strokes. It was pretty easy to play. It was fine. The crowd liked it okay.
I mean, the Strokes, if you want to tell me the Strokes are overrated, that's my wife's favorite band. I've seen them several times. They don't necessarily bring it every time. I actually saw them open up for another band that was better than Kiss and Red Hot Chili Peppers. Very hit or miss, but they're all about vibes.
Yeah,
they're all about just being too cool. Like Julian hates being up there half the time.
Yeah, not my scene. They took the beginning of American Girl by Tom Petty and made a whole career out of it. You know that little beginning of American Girl?
No, it's very much.
That's their whole sound. They didn't change anything.
I don't know how they got. I don't know how they got away with it.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Reptilia though, it's one of the great rock songs.
Reptilia, that's a good song. It's a good song.
And the Rolex that Julian has in that video, that gold Rolex. Look it up. I'm saving up for that one. That's my next piece.
I didn't know people were allowed to dress cool in rock videos after Nirvana made looking like a slot.
Julian Casablancas and the Strokes made looking cool okay again.
Yeah. They still look like crap. All right, let's talk about something that's going to keep these 1,200 people interested, and that is our wrestlers of the week. Mike, you get
just to be
here.
clear for the people joining, I don't hate Kiss. I happen to love Kiss. I've seen Kiss more than D-Money has seen Kiss. I go to Kiss concerts and I dress up like a member of the band. That's how whack I am. I'm just saying they're not the greatest American band, nor are they top 10.
Yeah, if you take away things like influence, staying power, memorable hits, and uniqueness. If you take away all those categories and just focus on things like
music,
critical rating,
what's
some guy wearing a beret in Brooklyn,
music that you enjoy,
what some skinny guy wearing a beret in Brooklyn thinks about him. The best quote about
is that what you think of me? I literally just picked Slipknot as what? Is that what you think of me?
No, but you listen to those guys too much.
Those guys have good pulls occasionally.
Yeah, it's like David Lee.
Yes,
Roth. That's what David Lee Roth said about Elvis Costello. He said people like Elvis Costello, critics like Elvis Costello because they look like Elvis Costello. That's why people don't like Kiss, because they're bigger than life. But we're talking about pro wrestling here, so obviously we like the bigger than life. Pete's ready to bash his
wrestler of the week,
off.
Pete.
Viewers are still going up, Rocco.
Viewers are going up.
We're almost at 1,200 now.
This week we're changing up. Who's your wrestler of the week?
My wrestler of the week. Let me think of one. I'm not even going to Google one.
All right. Cool. I trust you.
Kane's Cat saying his wrestler of the week is CM Punk for making me some cash this week. Which book takes bets on wrestling?
I'd like for him to explain.
Yeah. Kane's Cat, you have to explain how he made some money off CM Punk this week. Sports is saying Lola Vice. She should be one of these soon. Lourdes Girl.
St. Thomas the Apostle product, man.
That's right.
Glenvar Heights, baby.
Did your mom teach this girl?
Yeah, her whole family. Great family.
There you go, sports. Miss Aries, shout out to Memory Aries, taught Lola Vice back in St. Thomas Apostle, and now she's one of the top young contenders in the women's division. So, good question here, Fashy. Before we even get to your rest of the week, Posada's asking, what's the best Peacock WWE doc?
Ooh, my wrestler of the week, actually. Should I take the vine? I'm going to go first.
Get it.
The Kurt Angle documentary on Peacock. I recommended this to David Sampson, who loves watching documentaries and films. I'm like, you have to watch. It's not at all a wrestling fan, and he was blown away by it. Kurt Angle's story is insane. He won a gold medal with a broken freaking neck. And after he did that, he went to the WWE and won world championships and put on amazing matches and somehow never got a 5-star rating from Dave Meltzer in his entire career. Will Ospreay has 43 of them. Will Ospreay has had 43 5-star matches, and Kurt Angle has had 0, according to Dave Meltzer. It's absurd. Kurt Angle, this is a guy that in any era, plug him in. Hell, the era that he got over in was probably the most difficult era for a guy of his type to get over in. A guy who perfected in ring. A guy who was clean cut American, like his whole gimmick was that he was an Olympic hero in an age where everybody was rebelling against authority and cursing up a storm. This guy was chugging milk and he got over. He got over in the Attitude Era. That guy would get over in the Territory Era. He'd get over now. Kurt Angle is a unicorn, and he found a way to get progressively more and more entertaining, more outlandish, ended up being really good in comedy. Really. And I don't know if you know about the tragedy that surrounded his life and training with the whole DuPont murder and everything like that. But this guy's been through it all. And the drug addiction, to be able to break yourself from that, because as we know, it's a terrible disease. Some people don't make it through. His addiction was gnarly. As someone that has family members in his life that have succumbed to drug addiction, I often wonder and reconcile with, how is Kurt Angle able to dig himself out of that kind of addiction? Because the number of perks, how many perks was Kurt Angle on when he was wrestling for months, over a year, with a broken neck? He re-broke his neck, and he just kept going because he was all hopped up. And then WWE's like, man, Vince McMahon was like, this is too insane. You got to leave. He goes to Impact and has multiple, in my opinion, 5-star matches, great programs with Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, Christian Cage, you name it over there. Not a lot of people were watching. Probably missed the prime of his career while he was doing the Perk Angle stuff. But this guy was great. True American hero for what he did in the amateur ranks and the Olympic level. But again, a guy that you can plug into any wrestling era, which is a very difficult thing. That I think that's one of the highest compliments you can pay anybody. And he would be the top guy in any era. Kurt Angle, a 5-star machine in my book.
No, he's a beast. His matches with The Undertaker, I thought, were very underrated. The great one with Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania. His niece is married to John Bernthal, the actor.
Yeah,
they're always in the Instagrams together. What can you say about Kurt Angle? The "You Suck" chant. If you play that song in any NFL stadium, people will still say "You suck."
I'm the reason, if you go to any venues with touch tunes, I'm the reason locally why the original Kurt Angle theme has been banned in several venues. Because if Pete sends me a selfie from a Flanagan somewhere, I track down the Flanagans that he's had, and I'll just play the Kurt Angle theme song. It's my thing. If I'm driving by a bar, I just play Kurt Angle's metal. I play Kurt Angle's theme song.
When was the last time I sent you a selfie from a Flanagan's? Do I do that a lot?
No, not often, but
it's spectacular every time.
I have a lot of. Right? If friends send me, if they tell me they're at Barracuda, they actually don't have the metal version that I like, which is the original. But there's one with lyrics that they haven't gotten around to outlawing yet. But I guarantee you, people have been like, "Who keeps playing this god darn Kurt Angle theme?" And it's me. I'm here to admit it. I'm the person. Sometimes I've played it 7 straight times.
Original theme of The Patriot, by the way. People don't know that. That was originally the Patriots theme before Kurt Angle used it and made it good. Finally, champs on your side, one of the best of all time, Kurt Angle. So switching from an American hero to an anti-American hero, I am going with the Iron Sheik. So Iron Sheik got real famous lately, with the Howard Stern show and some of this comedy stuff he did. I was just doing something. I was like doing some work, and I had some like wrestling in the background just rolling. It was like a YouTube channel or something. And it was Iron Sheik against a jobber. And I was just amazed at how violent Iron Sheik was with the jobber. It made you realize how much rougher wrestlers were back then in the ring and how much more it looked like they just didn't like the opponent. And Iron Sheik, very, very believable. Not as decorated amateur wrestlers as Kurt Angle, but he was a Greco-Roman champion himself from Tehran, Iran. And I got to say, this gimmick, this character ruined my knowledge of the Middle East until I got to my 30s, because I always thought that like Arabs and Persians were the same, because Iron Sheik from Tehran, Iran was presented like an Arab. But in fact, the Persians and the Arabs come from totally different places and are like kind of enemies. Iran and Iraq were at war during this guy's whole gimmick as an Iranian dressing up like an Arab. And then he joined the Saddam Hussein side of the war in the Persian Gulf War. Remember, it was him. It was Sergeant Slaughter.
Really makes you think what Vince was up to, doesn't it?
Vince needs a mat, man. He ruined like a whole generation of kids don't know anything about the Middle East.
I mean,
because
Rick Martel was from France, right? Like,
right.
You're from Quebec, close enough.
Wasn't like Nikolai Volkov from like Canada or something? One of those guys is from Canada. Or like
Sergeant Slaughter didn't even serve.
I say that, but then I watch Hollywood and I get a bunch of people texting me, "Hey, there's this great show, critically acclaimed, Chernobyl," and all the actors in Chernobyl are British.
Yeah,
so
the British accent.
I was gonna blame Vince for getting the sides wrong in the war from his gimmick, but then these acclaimed shows that people are telling me are great shows like Chernobyl, they got the wrong side of the Cold War in it. You got British actors being communist.
Yeah, I understand why people had an issue with that. There was this Tom Cruise movie, the one where he wore the fake ass,
Yeah.
where they kind of start German and it just morphs into it. It's just like, audience, we know they're going to speak in American accents. Just understand that was actually commonplace for cinema in the 80s and 90s. And then people try to get a little bit more authentic. But there's something about period pieces that bug us, like Chernobyl, because it's so geo-targeted. But when we watch things like Gladiator and Troy, how kind of accent are they talking about?
Yeah, that British Australian kind of weird
it's
accent.
just like you got Brad Pitt going, now you know who you're fighting.
Joaquin
Like,
Phoenix, what the hell's he
yeah.
talking about?
Yeah, like that's not a real accent.
Yeah, they got to fix that.
It's just a cinematic accent that we're like, okay, that's acceptable. If you're doing a Gladiator epic, you speak with this accent.
Yeah, I'm over that. Let's get some Latin people. Are there any Latin people around? Not Latinos, like Latin. You got any Latin speakers around? Get them in those movies, man. I'm tired of these fake accents.
That's a good question.
You know, Apocalyptico. Imagine if it was Apocalyptico and you had like Timothy Chalamet running around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It
Have you ever
wouldn't
seen
hit the same way.
the Rizzler in Apocalypto?
Oh no.
Yeah. Pete, can you find the Rizzler from Apocalypto?
I don't know what any of that is.
Okay.
I'll
We
try
still
my
have your-
best.
We still have your wrestler of the week.
Great
too.
comment here from Son of the Beach, the Camel Clutch. So I know in the comments, and if there's anyone still listening to the show, there's somehow 1,200 people on this live. It keeps going up as we talk about more ridiculous things. So appreciate everybody joining. Like and subscribe if you don't hate us already to this show.
I'm gonna
We do
put in
talk
the private
football
chat.
and Canes every day of the week besides the second hour of this show.
Hold on. Before
But-
we go, I'm going to send Pete the Mayan Rizzler.
The Camel Clutch, if there was a better move on the playground than the Camel Clutch, let us know in the comments if you as a
Boston
brother, an older brother, Boston Crab's a good one. Boston Crab's a good one, but I like the Camel Clutch because it's a little more violent, you know? It hurts a little more. The Boston Crab, you can kind of like go on your side a little bit. That Camel Clutch, when you sit on the back and lift the chin, I mean, that hurts. That's no joke. If anyone has a little brother or cousin,
Mayan Rizzler.
Was that a real shot?
Apocalypto. Yeah, that's an Apocalypto.
huh? Man, look at that little deja vu moment right there.
Do you know who the Rizzler is?
No.
You don't know the Rizzler? Huh.
Yvonne Donaldson saying the sleeper hold is the best move to do on the playground. I don't know. Sleeper's okay. If someone passes out, you get in trouble though. So that's the problem there. Wait, Juan Manuel Ventura saying Sergeant Slaughter was not real. He didn't serve. Yeah, he was. Sergeant Slaughter was stolen valor. He was actually did not serve. We should have known when he
Perpetuated that lie his entire career. Still does. People thank him for his service and he doesn't correct them. He salutes them like you're not supposed to do any of this stuff. It's so disrespectful.
Do you think he served in the Iraq side of the war? Was he in the Iraq army?
Does he get credit for that? Can you thank someone for their service if they were behind enemy lines?
Another Hollywood gimmick that was stolen. The whole movie, the Homeland, they took it straight from Sergeant Slaughter. So
the Camel Clutch is a noogie. All those things. Didn't he do like a noogie too?
So okay, so you're in the Cobra Clutch.
Yeah, the Cobra Clutch.
Cobra
That
Clutch.
one hurts.
Yeah,
That's like $1 million dream. That one legit hurts.
Yeah. 904 Hurricane saying, I know the Camel Clutch well. My stepdad used to do it to me all the time. It's initiation process. We need like all the freshmen just got into UM. We need like, I don't know, Ruben Bain or like Mark Fletcher giving some of these guys the Camel Clutch to welcome to Miami. Luke Nickel is probably thinking he's like the star of the world right now to listen to this show.
Give Ruben Bain the Iranian clubs that the Ultimate Warrior couldn't do. Have you seen that?
Oh yeah,
video?
the Persian club. Yeah,
he couldn't do it, and that was the Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah, I was wikiing Persian clubs for about an hour before this show, and I was supposed to be working. Apparently, they're originally from like India, and then they got adapted to Persia. Yeah,
so
Persian
confused
club.
by
it's a real thing. It's how you get in shape. Yeah.
By the way, one of the things that flattered me most is you gave credit to the Howard Stern show because they certainly popularized Iron Sheik. Totally lifted Iron Sheik from our show. Levitard's show had invented.
You guys were the first?
We invented the Iron Sheik being crazy on radio, and they used to play the clips on the Stern show. And eventually, they were like, "Let's just get this guy on."
The middleman out,
and he became a Stern guy. But it's all good.
Did he come back?
We stopped bringing him on. We were told we couldn't because we use a dump button so much that bleep is bleep got over the air, and we all thought we were going to lose our license. We would curse all the time, and he'd be like really racist and homophobic. Rest in peace. See you next week.
See you next week. R.I.P. Iron Sheik.
Go Canes.
Go Canes.
Shop at the Miami Hurricane team store.
Luke Nickel.
Pete, Look at that beautiful sweater. You can get that at the Miami Hurricane Team store, MiamiHTS.com, 20% off, promo code INSIGHT20. You can go to the store in person. You could just tell they got Canes Insight there at the register. You could write Insight 20 onto MiamiHTS.com. Get that sweater. Pete has got Miami Hurricane Team store.
Give your loved ones the gift of Miami.
Give your loved ones the gift of Miami. I'm sure your wives would go insane with lust after seeing something like this come out of the box. This necklace here.
How special is this quarterback room, Pete?
Very special, very special. And you know what's crazy? I'll end it with this.
Your wrestler of the week?
Shoot, I forgot about that one.
All right, work on that. You got a week
next
to work
week.
on
The
You'll
Rock.
do it next week.
The Rock.
Yeah, great. Good job, Pete.
We forgot
Proud
about
of
Joao Arede from Sao Paulo. We'll break down his highlights next week on Canes Inside Live with D Money and Mike Ryan.
Go Canes.
Go Canes.